The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Walla Walla, Washington, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32266. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the face of the front bumper, you'll find dual air horns on the passenger and driver side. Located in the center, you'll find a mechanical siren. Located up onto the body, you'll find marker turn indicator lights. Just inside of that location is the headlight cluster, where the low and high beam are located. The low beam is on the outside and the high beam is on the inside. Up from that, you'll find the cluster for your turn indicator and an emergency warning light. Across the seamless one-piece windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers. On the outer edges, or where your mirrors are located, you'll find a convex mirror and a flat mirror. And on the very top of the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 running lights. Located on top of the roof of your apparatus, you'll find emergency warning light bar. And located in the center, you'll find an opticom. On the side of the apparatus, front corner, you'll find an emergency warning light. You'll also find the location of your marker or turn indicator light on the side. You'll find 2 grab handles at the points of entry for the front and rear door. Here's some close-ups of those images we just talked about, headlight cluster and turn. Let's go ahead and look overhead at the light bar. You can see the opticom located directly in the center. Let's move to the pump panel area. First, we'll start with some warning labels. This is a warning label regarding the possibility of fall while moving aloft onto your vehicle. There's also entanglement hazards regarding hoses coming off the side of your vehicle. Down at the very bottom near the discharge port, you'll find a pressure warning. This is regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards with removing those caps while under pressure. To the left, you'll find this walk-through area. On each passenger and driver's side, additional storage. Let's look now at the midsection of the pump. You'll find in the upper left-hand corner your manual pump shift. You'll also find the number 1 driver's side discharge, 2.5-inch male. Large diameter pump intake. You'll find this pan door. We'll talk about what's behind it here in the next set of images. As we move further down, you'll find all of your associated drains. They are color-coded and also labeled. A 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch female. Just underneath the large diameter intake is where you'll find your Watrous placard, pump drain, and then you also have a garden hose connection. Let's take a look at some close-ups of those images that we just talked about. First, starting with the manual pump shift, you can see there is a caution label here and instructions for that use. As we move down lower, you'll find the discharge drains and also the auxiliary inlet. Moving further across, discharge and large diameter intake. Moving all the way down to the right corner, you'll find your pump drain and also your garden hose direct fill. You'll also find the placard for your Watrous pump. This is a CSU pump model with a 2.46 ratio. Behind the access panel, you'll find your relief valve. You'll also find a twist for your foam drain. Let's move up to the top section. You'll find this is the location for your cross lays. There is a number 1, a number 2, and a 2.5-inch cross lay. There is also, just at the very base of that, an additional warning label. Because of those hoses coming off above you, there is the possibility of entanglement, and that's why this warning label is here. Let's go ahead and move now to the rear section of the cab. Located on the cab, you'll find this tool. General view here of your pump panel, and we'll go through some of the items within this pump panel. We'll first start down at the lower section where the discharge valves are located. Let's start on the right-hand side, first with the driver's side auxiliary inlet. That was the 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet that we mentioned earlier. You have the number 1 speed lay, you have the number 1 cross lay, driver's side rear discharge, and the number 1 side discharge. You also have a placard here for your minimum operation schedule. We'll talk about that in a moment. There is your tank fill and recirculating line. To the left of that, you'll find your tank to pump. And then in the upper corner of the picture, you're going to find a control module. This is your Pierce control module. This is for your pressure throttle governor. In the middle of that pressure throttle governor, there is also a water tank level indicator. And just beneath that, you'll find the speaker, which is an audible alarm. Moving on the left, you're going to find your passenger side auxiliary inlet. And as we move all the way across, you're going to find all of your discharges, once again, color-coded and clearly labeled. Let's move now up to the top of the panel. You're going to find your rear inlet open and close. This is an electronic switch. And to the right, you'll find your reel blowout. Moving further to the right, we're going to find some warning labels here. Let's talk about those. First, there's a fall hazard here. You should never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And then to the right, there's a warning label that only trained personnel should operate this equipment and that you should seek your owner's manual for assistance. In the upper top corner, you're going to find your Pierce placard. This is for test pressures for 150 psi, 200, and 250 psi. Please see your owner's manual for more information on these test pressures. In the gray area, you're going to find your master intake. Down in the section beneath that, you'll find the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure, and then your master discharge on the right. All the way to the right, you'll find your engine cooler. It's a twist, not a pull. And then just beneath that, you'll find the primer for your fire pump with some instructions for priming just beneath that. If your pump is properly engaged, you'll find this indicator will light green, indicating that your pump is properly engaged. We'll also look down these panel lights here for panel lights, driver's side floodlights, passenger side floodlights, and then you also have a red switch here, which is your air horn. Just to the upper right-hand corner, you'll find the mechanical siren. That's the red switch, and then the siren brake beneath it. You also have some future switch locations beneath those. We're looking now from the standing position at the pump panel to the rear of the apparatus, showing the 24-foot extension and 14-foot roof. Let's now move to the side. This is the passenger side. Once again, some warning labels regarding entanglement and also fall hazard. As we move further down, you're going to find some additional access panels. We'll talk a little bit about those access panels in the next set of images. First, let's start with the next module, which is your powered equipment rack. And then we'll move down to your cab lift. We'll talk about those also individually. Moving further down, you'll find your large diameter intake. This is the Pierce American Flag Eagle logo. And then moving to the right, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. As we move further down, you'll find foam fill location here. And then to the right, you'll find associated discharge drains. And then also the passenger side auxiliary inlet, which is a 2.5-inch female inlet. Also across the bottom, additional drains for those crosslays. Moving to the powered equipment rack module, you'll find an on and off switch, which will give you a green indicator. There is also an up or down for the lift positions with instructions on that module. This is your cab lift. It's a protected switch for raise and lower, and an activate to the right. There's also instructions here. Located behind the panel is the access door, where you'll find your equipment rack hydraulic reservoir. Let's go through some of the items real quickly. This is once again your large diameter intake and a 2.5-inch discharge, and also a 2.5-inch intake. These are the drains for your 2.5, number 2 passenger side, and number 2 speed lay. As we move to the left, this is your passenger side auxiliary inlet. And then as we move further to the left, you'll find your foam outlet. Underneath this space, you're going to find the rear inlet drain. We haven't discussed that, but that's at the rear of your apparatus, and we'll show you that in a few moments. In the very back, this is going to be your brake, turn, reverse, and an emergency light cluster. Moving upward, we'll find once again a warning label regarding a fall hazard because you'll be climbing a loft. There are also some additional warning labels here regarding not riding on the side of the apparatus or rear of the apparatus. In addition, with a warning label regarding pressurized caps and the associated hazards with those discharges under pressure. and also once again an entanglement warning. As we move through some of the items here, you'll find two 2.5-inch discharges located here. This is the passenger side rear and driver side rear. Located in the center, you'll find your backup camera. And as we move down beneath this area, you'll find your logo with the roll-up door in the very rear, and we'll talk about what's behind that in the next set of images. On the very far left-hand side, you'll find your rear scene lights and hose bed lights. And as we move up above, you'll find your movable hose bed load dividers. We're now inside the rear compartment. At the very top, you'll find the rear inlet. As we move down from that location, you'll find the push button for the reel rewind. Just beneath that reel rewind and to the side, you'll find a tensioning spring. And then underneath that, you're going to find this tool location for manual rewind. As we move to the side compartment, this shelf does pull out. There is a mechanism on the right for the release mechanism. As we move just to the rear of the rear tires, you'll find this 3-compartment SCBA storage with bottle straps. As we move to the front, you'll find 3 additional SCBA and also securing straps. Just over the rear tire, you'll find this length compartment with an adjustable shelf. And as we move to the forward location, you'll find 3 adjustable shelves here. And I would like to point out there is a warning label here regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures, and be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. Let's go ahead and now move to the front compartment, driver's side. This compartment is going to house a couple of items. First, your breaker box up in the upper left-hand corner. This is the labeled G1. This is for your inverter. There is breakers 1 through 4 located here, and there are currently only 1, 2, and 3 in use. In the upper corner here, you're going to find your battery charging system when plugged into shore power, and also your air compressor when plugged into shore power. Let's go ahead and work through some of the other compartments here. First, bottle storage locations. There are 3 bottles available here with secure straps. As we look to this compartment, bottle storage and also location for your ultra low sulfur diesel, and also DEF, which is the blue cap. This is a 4.5 US gallon tank. Located over the rear tire is where you'll find your tool board. Located in the rear, you'll find a pull-out shelf down at the very bottom with the mechanism down on the right for the release. As we look to the cab, you'll find 2 forward-facing SCBA seats, and also as you look to the forward section, you'll find 2 rear-facing SCBA seats. In between those SCBA seats, you'll find 3 barrel-style outlets for 12 volt, and also beneath that, you'll find an access panel door for the engine oil and also your transmission. These are for your daily checks. Located overhead, you'll find intercom systems and also box lights. Also located in the center, you'll find your air conditioning unit. Let's go ahead and move now to the driver's area. First, we'll start with the door panel area. You'll find these warning labels located on the door. As we move down, you'll also find this on the seat regarding the use of seat belts. Seat belts are red in color for easy visibility. And then we'll start down in the right side, right foot area. This is just above the floorboard. This is the manufactured by Pierce for the city of Walla Walla. Date of manufacture, September of 2018. It has your job number. It has a gross vehicle weight ratings. It also has your VIN number, fluid capacities for the components, and also the fluid type. Just beneath that in the step well area, you'll find your air inlet, and you'll also find your shore inlet, which is a 15 amp plug. When you're plugged into shore power, your auto charging system by Kusmal will activate. That's what this device is for. And as we look at the floorboard, this is your mechanical siren foot pedal. Let's go ahead and move up from this location. First, the silver is going to be a quarter turn switch for your master battery switch. And in the green, this is a diagnostic module, so this is a plug-in for your engine, transmission, and ABS ports. Down in the lower section, some switches: ABS diagnostic, DPF regen, engine diagnostic, and regen inhibit. As we move up from that location, you'll find your pump shift. This is from road to pump, and from pump to road. The instructions are clearly located on this area. Before exiting the cab, you do need your 2 green lights, which is your pump engaged and OK to pump for the operation. On the right-hand side of the column, you'll find your pump hours. Moving up from that location, left-hand side of the column, we're going to find your ignition switch and also the start switch. Moving to the right of this location, you'll find this small set of switches. This first switch is EM, which stands for Emergency Master. That controls all of your emergency lights, and then your headlights and panel rocker switch. On the dash, you'll find your transmission, oil, DEF, and water. Located in the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. To the right, you'll find your volts, fuel level, front and rear air, and then any additional diagnostic information in the screens above and below the speedometer. General view here, looking at the center console area. Let's identify some of the items within this area. Starting in the upper section, this is going to be your backup camera. And as we look down to the next section, you'll find your driver's side flood, passenger side flood, rear scene, high beam flash, and your opticom. Just to the right of this location, you'll find the radio push to talk. And then beneath that, you'll find your windshield wiper controls. And if you push in on this, you'll also find the display of windshield wiper fluid to the windshield. Just beneath that, you're going to find your engine brake on-off switch, settings for low, medium, and high on that engine brake, a protected switch for your tire chains, off-road traction, your mirror heat, and then in the red, this is going to be your siren brake. Let's move down from this location. On the left-hand side here, we're going to find this yellow pull to apply your system parking brake or push to release. On the right-hand side, you'll find the Allison transmission pad with a digital readout. Then as we move slightly to the right, you're going to find your main mirror controls. Up from this location, we're going to find your inverter power. And on the front console, you'll find your climate control. As we move overhead of the operator, you're going to find the 9 feet 8 inches is the height of your vehicle, your length 32 feet 10.5 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 42,000 pounds. If you make any changes, please change this placard accordingly. Let's look to the right of this location. You're going to find a couple of banks of switches. We'll go over those next. First, starting with the emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and then your upper rear warning. When those switches are in the on position, they will light up individually per each switch. Let's move slightly to the right, find another set of switches. You're going to find your electric air horn, your air horn or electric horn, it's a selector, and the load manager. To the right, you're going to find your ICOM system. This is for your unit radio. And then further to the right, you're going to find this Pierce information seat belt. Red indicating that someone is in the seat, although they are not belted. Green indicating they're in the seat and belted. Just beneath that, you'll find this red indicator, if lit, indicating that you have a compartment door open or ajar and that you should not move your apparatus. Let's go ahead and move now to the passenger side. This is the front seat. You'll find these warning labels, once again, point of entry. And you'll also find the fill location for your windshield wiper. This is going to be located on the hinge side of the door. Let's go ahead and move now to the dash area. First, let's start with this radio push to talk. That is a protected switch. As we move to the right, you'll find your air horn, mechanical siren, and then you'll also find a 12-volt barrel style plug. And as we move to the front, an additional 12-volt barrel style plug. Here's some close-ups of those images. This is the radio push to talk. These are the switches for your air horn, mechanical siren, and then also the 12-volt access point. Just overhead, you're going to find your intercom control module. As we move to the left of that, you'll also find your radio system. And then as we look to the rear of the apparatus, just a clean look of your 2 SCBA seats with the lamps on the right and left, and a general view of the rear section of your apparatus. Congratulations, Walla Walla, Washington, on your new fire apparatus, job number 32266. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations.